We're live. We're live.
Yes, we are.
And we got a topic. We'll be right back in a moment.
Good morning. My name is Brian McNeill.
And I am Lisa Santiago McNeill.
And thank you for joining us on our show, Let's Talk About It. We come to each Monday through Friday right here on the SIBN network, on iHeartRadio, YouTube, TuneIn, as well as Facebook Live. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Like.
Good morning. Good morning. Like. We are here, and today we're talking about time. Sometimes you don't have enough. Sometimes you have too much. It really depends on what you're trying to do that determines whether or not time feels like it's working for you or against you. What do you think about time?
Management of time has more to do with your success or failure than anything. You know, how we manage our time. Your life is in your time.
Are there any things that you can't control as far as time?
Brian Tracy says, do you value life? If you do, then you will value your time.
Mm-hmm.
I am upset about this.
I understand that.
I made a post. I have an event that's coming up. I'm going to try it again, but I'm not going to try it from my personal page. I'm going to try it from my business page and see what happens.
I need you to come back.
Every place I posted it yesterday is probably down now.
So what we're talking about is actually an upcoming event this Wednesday, since Brian insists on
No, not that one. Not that one. I was talking. You can bring that one up. We can talk about that. I was talking about the 25th. Yeah. Yep.
I don't know if I have that one. I'll get it. Okay. So go ahead. Tell them about it.
So I have an event coming up on the 25th of May. You know, you entrepreneurs out there, when you get to that place where your marketing is starting to work, people are starting to notice you. Your branding efforts are starting to work. And people are starting to show interest in what you do. But I hear the lamentation a lot of times. People are interested, but no one's hiring me. No one's doing what I do. No one's buying my stuff. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times that happens because you just don't know how to sell it well yet, or you don't know the secrets of converting an interested person into a paying client.
Right.
So I'm going to do a public workshop. Let's stop pitching. A public workshop on how to convert interested people into paying clients. Mm-hmm. And I want to share that with my Facebook community. And Facebook sent me a message this morning saying this is violates community standards.
They said, hell no to the no.
They try to not let
hell no.
They try to not let my shine. They try to take my shine. Anyway. That's how Riley Freeman would say it. They trying to steal my shine. Shouts out to those of you who know who Riley Freeman is. If you don't know who Riley Freeman is, you need to get to know Riley Freeman. Do a Google search on Riley Freeman or a YouTube search on Riley Freeman. R-I-L-E-Y Freeman. Riley Freeman.
And this is the event that's coming up.
Son, my name is Riley, son.
On May the 25th at 1 p.m. and again at 7 p.m., Brian will be conducting how to convert interested people into paying clients. You'll get to learn exactly what to do first, second, and third to get someone who has transitioned, someone who has become interested in what you do into someone that actually
into something or opted into something.
Can you fix my collar? The shirt is sticking up or something.
Women clothes are the most challenging.
Yes, thank you. They are.
You can't even fold women clothes right because they got like extra cloth in the breast area or something, or this. It's not just a regular shirt like a man's shirt. I find it challenging to fold women clothes.
Good morning, Katura. Good morning, Felicia. Good morning, Bill. Never mind.
I dare you. I dare you to say that.
That you folded clothes?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, what I was going to say was
about folded women clothes.
When was the last time that you folded?
When I broke my arm trying to fold your dress. Okay, that's when I did it last. Okay.
You don't fold a dress, you hang it up.
A blouse of yours, there's something on your glasses, like a line, a heavy line.
There is, because I can't find my little orange cloth, and I don't really like to clean it with anything else. So, but it's okay. I'll do it.
Okay. Dang. So we're talking about. Good morning, Wayne. Good morning, Sister Felicia. Good morning, Katura. We want to talk about Tuesdays about time, different aspects of about time, because that's where your life is. You know, are you wasting? Are you using it well? How much of your time you spend doing what your thing is? That's a great topic. You know, that passion thing that you have, that thing that you imagine to do with your life. How much of time do you actually give your dreams? How much time do you actually give your goals? You know, I have this dream of being a stand-up comedian. That's not me, but I'm just using it as an example. I have the dream of being a stand-up comedian. So how much time do you put into that daily? You put any time in reading about great stand-up comedians, their story, their journeys? Do you go visit amateur night? Do you give amateur night any of your time? You know, how are we using our time doing our thing? And I want to highlight this real quickly too. Your thing. Your THANG. I define it as the thing that your brain and heart won't let you not think about doing. Okay, your brain and heart won't let you. It's about, I want to open up a spa, and it just keeps coming to you regularly. You can't not think about doing it at one point. Or I want to get this Corvette. You know, I want to drive that vet. You know, you just can't. You can't not imagine doing that thing that's pulling your passions. That's your thing, your THANG.
I think time is so temperamental sometimes. We were talking about this morning how the shortest hour of every day.
Yes, for us, definitely.
Is from 8 a.m. until 9 a.m.
That last hour before we have to go live. It's not an hour. Okay.
It's 15 minutes.
That's all it is every time. Okay. It just ain't. Okay. Now, a lot of people have lamented this as well. The hour before they get off of work
is the longest hour that you will ever encounter.
Or a kid getting out of school. Okay. That 2 to 3.
Oh my goodness. No, it's not even 2 to 3. It's 2:45 to 3 o'clock. That is 4 hours long.
Yes. Why is that? Why is certain times speed by?
I think it's all relative. Just like if you think about how short the summers were when we were kids. Actually, I still think summers are relatively short, but that winters are eternities.
Mm-hmm. Like you think summer's never going to return again. I used to think when I was a kid. Good morning, Miss Vivian. How you doing? But for example, when you take a trip somewhere, going to the place takes forever. Getting back home is like fast.
Yes.
You know, when we go to the mountains, it might be 2.5 hours up the mountain. Okay, 2 hours up the mountain, drudgery. But coming back is like half an hour.
It feels like it.
Right.
It absolutely feels like it.
What is that?
Time, the relativity of time. How about the duration of the last month of pregnancy? That last month of pregnancy is like 17 months long.
I say that lets me out right there. I don't know what that's like.
Well, you know what it was like waiting for the baby.
Yeah.
And I know any time that any of my friends have been pregnant, that last month seemed like an eternity.
But it wasn't. It seemed like. So a large part about how we perceive time sounds to me like just a perception.
Perspective and perception. Absolutely.
I'm perceiving this takes a long time, so it does. Okay, it may not, though. You know, but that's how we see it. You know, it's just so crazy to me that last hour before we go live zooms by.
It's literally 15 minutes long. We never have enough time to do what needs to be done to completion. Hey, Miss Vivian.
In that last hour before we go live.
In that last hour. We're always like, I don't know. Even if we start 15 minutes earlier, like it's There's no more
If it
time.
gets to 8 a.m.,
it's done.
You got,
if it gets to 8 a.m., no. If it's 8 a.m., it's already 9. That's it. It's finished.
Has anyone else had a dynamic like that? You experienced it like that? I mean, like the hour before you go live, or the, oh man, dare I bring up time with us last night? How that threw your game off?
Yeah. So, Brian had a relatively taxing Monday. Yes, Miss Vivian, winter is so long. As soon as you get a warm day in spring, you think it's over, but then it's cold the next day.
Yes.
Oh yeah, winter will mess with your head. So last night, Brian had a relatively taxing evening, and then, after that, he has to decompress. He has to come down, if you will. And usually it'll be about an hour. Hey, Melissa, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Melissa. How you doing?
Usually it'll be about an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. And last night it seemed to be encroaching upon 2 hours, maybe even 2.5 hours. And that's not a problem. I don't have a problem with that, except that I was ready for bed. And so that last, I want to say the last 15 minutes, not before you were done, but before I felt like you should be done. I think that was the problem.
You felt I should be done.
Exactly. That last 15 minutes, I was like, how many hours is he going to stay down there? I was like in a drunken ridiculousness. Like, oh my God, he's going to be down there forever. And it really was taxing. And it's not because I can't entertain myself or go to bed on my own. It's just that I had a expectation.
Okay.
I think that's really the best way to put it. I had an expectation that you'd be done by midnight. And here we were creeping up on 12:45. And I'm like, now I know where he is. I know exactly where he is. He's right downstairs. And I know what he's doing. He's relaxing. He's enjoying a cigar, probably watching a movie.
Yep.
And all of those things were true at the same time that they still filled me with so much angst. Like, I need him to hurry up and get upstairs and come to bed. And time was working against him for that season.
Boy, did you make that sound pretty and clean. Let me tell you my version of what happened. Bill, did you see that, Bill? I didn't interrupt at all. I just wanted her to say the whole story as she saw her perspective, her vantage point. Yesterday, Mondays we consider very, very important, because Monday sets the pace for your week, and you want to have a very full and successful Monday. You want to on purpose. Murder, She Wrote, yes, okay. So I know what you're saying, Ms. Vivian. So yesterday I had one of those days where I had to talk to people all day. I had to work all day long talking to people, which means I have to be on. Every time I talk to a client, every time I'm trying to get booked to speak at different things, and I'm trying to deal with my clients as well and help them. So I'm talking all day. And then last night I got an opportunity to host the Clubhouse room, selling your services. And we had 4 amazing subject matter experts, and they were all incredible. Opened up with Tina Brinkley Potts. Then brother Stephen Russ came in, PH Russ, Stephen Russ. He came in, they gave great stuff. And Sister Denise Wiggins came in, and then our friend Cortez Springer closed it out. And they all were amazing. So as the host, I'm introducing them. I'm talking in between all this talk. I'm facilitating the Q&A for everybody. Then I'm bringing everyone back up again so they can talk about how they prefer people to contact them and all that kind of stuff. So it was work for me. It was work. So by the time it was done, by the time it was all done, I'm coming to the house to Lisa's downstairs. I'm coming out to see Lisa, and I find myself still talking at a loud volume, because that's the way you do it in a presentation. Lisa would say something. I was like, yeah. And she goes, whoa, I saw her flinch from the volume of my voice. I saw her flinch from how loud I was. I was like, okay, this is not good. I'm scaring my wife. I got to calm down here a little bit, okay? So when I saw you flinch, I knew I was up way too high to endeavor to go to bed, okay? I need to come way down. So I make myself, I think I had something to eat afterwards. No, I ate during the show. right in the beginning. So I had this drink with my wife, watched a little bit of TV with her, had a drink, and then I went outside and I knew I wanted a grown man cigar. So I got a big cigar, okay, and a strong one. Okay, so I had the big, strong cigar, and it took some time to finish it. A bigger cigar like that is going to take an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. And I have a philosophy, once I start a cigar, I don't want to stop it until it's done. So I had a big cigar, and I'm working my way through it, and I watched an incredible documentary. The documentary was called the Journey of African Americans in Sports, the journey of it. And it was just talking about how we got into, integration of baseball and basketball and golf and football and tennis. And it was just really, really, it was good. It was really well done. So I watched that. That show lasted 2 hours. But now I'm finished my cigar and I finished my drink and I'm still up, racing. Okay. So I was like, okay, it's only like 11:30. Okay. So 11:30. Let me have a Candela cigar, which is a much more mellow one. And my thinking was a mellow cigar would help me mellow because I had a beefy one first. So I had a Man of War first. So then I had a mellow cigar, the green one, the Candela, and I'm smoothing out. I am smoothing out, and it is having the desired effect. It is smoothing me out. I have me a drink, and I'm smoking a Candela, and then Lisa fusses at me, sends me messages like, "What the hell, man?" Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, "Oh my God, baby, I'm downstairs in the garage. Please don't beat me. Please don't beat me." So I finished my cigar, which is policy, and I go upstairs, and she was like, "What the hell took you so long?" That's what really happened. Stephanie Morris said, "I should have started with a mellow cigar." You're probably right, but I felt like why is it that after a big meal, a cigar is like the best? It's almost like it's food almost, So I did. If I had started with the mellow cigar, I probably would have been finished fine. You're probably right. That would have been a good one.
I wanted you guys.
Says he was relaxing before bed. Diva Lisa.
Yes, he was. Absolutely. I wanted you all, Brian, you need to turn your chair because I actually have. You just squatting.
I'm sitting on a tuffet. Well, what you need?
I need you to just turn. No.
What?
I'm just trying to let them see Melissa's picture in the screen. Yeah, that's what I need to do. Lean away. There is my Arbor Love right there. And this is a wonderful, I'm actually going to paint. I'm going to use watercolors and paint over this. But this was a gift from someone else. But yes.
Reed says, I can hear Lisa. What the hell? I am at home. I didn't go out to the bar. I didn't go out to no club. I don't do those things. I stay home.
Hey, Leanne. Good morning, Brother Mark. Vivian said, I can hear Lisa. What the hell? So he's right. And his telling of the story is absolutely right.
Mark says, man, are you sure that was a cigar that had you mellow? I'm just saying. That's all I do. I don't do no other kind of smoke. So
yeah. Felicia says we waste time doing everything else but our dreams. Yeah. Time management is key. Now I am learning to create a weekly schedule to focus on the things that's specifically geared to completing my goals. I'm still tweeting it, but I do see a difference in my progression with a schedule versus not having one. Absolutely. Right. I think I'm still tweaking it. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Good morning, Beverly. Thank you for joining.
Man, I wish Beverly had heard the stories we just told about last night because she would remember it forever.
It's a true story. And again, let me just for clarity's sake, because I think it's really important to understand that I respect the time that Brian takes to decompress. I really do respect the time that it takes for him to decompress. I respect the time that he enjoys independently having his cigar. I don't have any problem with any of it. The problem was the perspective and expectation of the time. That was what happened. And that's not his fault. We're just sharing that with you so that you understand how perspective and expectation can impact your reality. Yep. Can truly impact your reality.
You expected me to be done in an hour and a half, and I wasn't.
2.5 hours went by, almost 3.
Yeah.
And it was like, Okay, so I think also what happened was my patience level had worn out.
Because you were tired.
Yeah, because I was tired, and because I was wearing my good, loving, caring, understanding wife hat, and it got old.
Mm-hmm.
It was like it had an expiration date.
And expiration time, at least.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how often does time affect your response? Time also can affect your response a lot. For Brian, if you are in the process that you are going to ask Brian for something.
Oh Lord, where are we
right?
going?
You want I don't
Go ahead.
You have a scheduled time to have that conversation. You want, and it's not just Brian, it's anybody. You want everything to be in order. You don't want to show up late to ask a favor. You don't want to show up late to ask for a sale. You don't want to show up disrespectful. You don't want to mess with the expectation in any way. All of those things are adding to or taking away from your expected result.
Interesting. You should say that. Perspective when it comes to those things
Mm-hmm.
and time, I think it all fits together too. For example, time does impact most of our decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How many of you, when you get a phone call and you look and you see who it is on the phone, and then you make a determination as to how much time is this call going to take? Nope, I don't have enough time to talk to Susie because it's going to be 45 minutes because she won't let you off the phone. Or I got enough time to talk to my mom because it ain't going to last more than 2 minutes. Okay, so you make that determination time. Yesterday, we had another incident where you saw it differently than I did.
Mm-hmm.
I got a message saying, Brian, we would like for you would you speak at our event? Okay, is what she said. Brian, we would like to book you to speak at our event. And this is someone I know who knows how I speak because she has seen me before. Okay, so would you come and speak at my event? We want to feature you at my event. I'm like, okay. And then as I read it, she goes, here's what I want you to do to speak at my event. We want you to do this and this and this and this and this. And I'm like, I'm not doing all that shit.
That's what he said. You don't have to excuse anything. That's exactly what he said.
I'm not doing all of that. You asking me to speak. You want me to jump through loops for you? I didn't raise my hand for that.
They were not loops.
Okay.
They were reasonable requests. But because his experiences, that's another thing that affects time, right? Your experiences affects your time, interpretation of time. That's why as adults, we have different expectations of time than children. Right? They want it now and now and now and now and now and right now.
Mm-hmm.
And also his experience with the previous previous similar type of event, activity sets an expectation. If you go to a restaurant and you know that it's a 1 hour wait because it's a great 5-star restaurant, you planned for that. You may have had a snack, you had an expectation, you got there. But if you go to a restaurant where you expect to be seated in 15 minutes and it takes 30, then you have a different response to that.
Absolutely. Leanne says, you know how financial people advise us to pay yourself first. I say pay your dreams first. Also, take care of yourself first. Take the time to take care of these things. No, make the time.
Amen. Make the time. Beverly says, I don't think that the timing affects our response. I think the character of what we're expecting and of what we're waiting to have the patience to wait, because time is not going to change. You know what I mean? Time is a constant will and motion, and you have to get in the wheel of time and shift your own paradigm. I get it.
Time is a wheel in constant motion, always rolling us along.
Yes, I get it. But I do believe that there are lots of things that affect our perception of time. And understand that perception is just that. It is a vacillating, non-concrete, sometimes undefinable
So as I sit here thinking, the challenge you and I had last night is because your expectation of time was versus what my decision of time was that didn't match.
Right.
Okay, that's what happened.
That's all that happened.
So time can sometimes cause a challenge, cause you to be in something.
Be out of sync. That's really what it was. It was just out of sync.
Mm-hmm.
It was just out of sync. Good morning, Taylor Emily, or Emily Taylor.
She says, I'm so impatient with everything. I get so stressed out and worried about everything, and I don't know why. Leanne, Beverly, Dr. Beverly, Sister Vivian, raise your hand. You heard what Taylor Emily said?
Yeah, I actually wonder if that had something to do with some element of time in your youth that you didn't have any control over.
That's what it is. People who constantly check time are, well, I'm going to try to say this gently, okay? People who constantly look at the time over and over again like that, those people tend to have, and this is what I read, control issues. Issues with control.
And even that has something to do with the element of an experience that they had very little control over. Felicia said, that's so true. Love
your long weekend friends, your long-winded friends, but you might have to ignore their call sometimes if you know they will throw you off. I might be that friend to certain people. I'm learning to keep my combo brief and to the point. LOL. Yep.
There you go, Leanne. Leanne said the time mastery free ebook for me. If you want it, go to just send an email to leanne@leannecannon.com.
Leanne, I didn't know you had a free ebook called Time Mastery. Oh my gosh. I could think of a couple of people in history that really got their launch by giving workshops on time. Like Michael LaBeouf, he started off with giving workshops and lectures on helping teachers with time management. How to help teachers with time management.
Taylor, yeah, we were discussing it early this morning. She says, did you hear about every gas station was a shortage of gas last night? That's what I was worried, that we were going to run out of gas last night. It was like an end of the world. Everyone was at the gas station. Good morning, Dr. Deborah.
Good morning, Dr. Deborah. How you doing? What you looking for?
I'm looking for my phone. I thought I had it. You don't have my phone?
No, baby, I don't have your phone.
I don't have my phone.
Why you grab your breast looking for your phone?
I had to carry my things up this morning.
That means it's downstairs.
Maybe. So yes, the email is on the thread for the ebook. It is leanne@leannecannon.com. It's right here. Good morning, Dr. Deborah. We're glad that you're here. I want to make sure that everyone knows that the arrangements have been set for Dr. Dunstan and the
homegoing
for the homegoing service, and that the church has been selected. So we know it's going to be at Temple, but I wanted to give you the specifics of it. So Dr. Deborah, if you can paste it in the thread so that everyone who has been asking and wants to come out and support or send flowers can do so. It is Friday. I believe the time is 12 noon, but we will take care to make sure that we get the exact information to put out. Beverly says, yes, Brian, control issues or on someone else's schedule, controlling or being controlled.
Yeah. And I also saw that people who set their watches, this is back in the day, watches 5 minutes fast, are also having control issues. The control freaks, they set your time fast because you're trying to control time. It's a control.
Set their time fast?
Yeah, or set your time. Like, for example, I used to set my watch 10 minutes
later, so that you'd always be earlier.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So earlier, 10 minutes early.
No, later.
Okay, like if it's 3 o'clock normally,
mm-hmm.
Okay, my clock would say 3 o'clock when it was actually 2:50. Okay.
So you would always be
very early.
Late.
No, I'd always be very early. See, my clock would say 3 p.m. and that's when I thought I had to be there, but it was actually 2:50.
Okay,
so that I always gave myself that grace period, and I never wanted to be there on time. It says 3, so I would try to show up at least 10 minutes before 3 on my clock. Mm-hmm. So that means I'm 20 minutes early at every place I go.
Good morning, Dr. Lynette. Hey, Charmaine Marie. Thank you for joining us this morning. So yes, time. Time won't give me time. And time.
Yes. So that's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about time on Tuesdays. I wanted to focus more on how much time do you devote to your thing?
Yeah, that's a good one. How much time are you devoting to your dream?
Yeah.
How much time are you devoting to the things that are important to you, or are you leaving them to chance?
Yeah.
Or just in the spare time?
Now, Felicia earlier said she's learned to schedule some things. Now, I put on my schedule some things that I want to do at that time, but I don't often get to do them. But I still want to keep it on my schedule just to prick my own spirit.
I took them off on my schedule.
I keep them on mine.
I took some of the things. Well, I mean, I took my. I don't look at your schedule anymore.
You don't?
No, I took it off because of the same thing. Because time, for me, there is an expectation of fulfillment, and I don't want there to be an expectation where there is not fulfillment, because that can affect the way I feel like that particular time, the way I feel about that particular time all the time.
I like to keep it on there because it makes me at least think about it, no matter where I am. And I think we're thinking about the same thing, actually. So I put on my schedule, to kiss my wife every day at 6 p.m. Okay. No matter what I do, I have it on my calendar, my schedule, 6 p.m. And it says on my calendar, long, passionate kiss is what it says at 6 p.m. I don't have to put with my wife on my calendar because I think my calendar knows that if I want to have a long, passionate kiss with somebody, it's going to be with Lisa. Okay. But even though it's on my calendar, I did not always do it. I didn't always do it, but I kept it on my calendar. Yeah, that's sweet, right? I think it's sweet.
It would be sweet if you actually did it.
I did it sometimes.
Yeah. but that was the problem with having it on the calendar, was that it was easier to see how often it didn't happen. Oh. So for me, I didn't want to see that because I don't want to keep track of those stats. I'm grateful for the time and for the
when it does happen,
the interactions, yes, and all those things when it does happen. But if I'm looking at it as if it is supposed to happen and then it doesn't, then I've got to go through the emotional and gymnastics of, well, he probably got caught up at work, he was doing something else, all of these other things. And if I don't see it, then and you happen to come kiss me, then that's great. But if
I'm keeping it on my calendar,
you can. But I'm just saying, I took it off of mine.
Okay.
Because I don't want to see it not happen.
I hear you, baby. I'm keeping it on my calendar. Whether I do it or not, I'm still keeping it on my calendar as a reminder. Okay. Mm-hmm. But for example, I put cigar time on my calendar at 2 p.m. because I thought normally that would be a pocket of time. But I don't often get to do that at 2 p.m, even though that's on the calendar.
Well, that's because that wasn't a good time to put it. Because 2 p.m. is actually nap time.
So wait. So you said that's because that wasn't a good time to put it on there. Mm-hmm. So does that mean 6 o'clock wasn't a good time to put that on there?
Yeah, I think so.
I need to change that time.
You might need to. Thank you, Dr. Deborah. The homegoing service for Dr. Dunstan is on Friday the 14th. There's a quiet hour at noon, and the funeral is at 1 p.m. It will be at Greater Temple Baptist Church at 216 Bradford Drive here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, let me leave it there for a second. 12 noon, okay? The quiet hour and funeral, and then at 1 o'clock. All right, cool. So we're going to be there, okay? And we'll make sure that our schedule. Dr. Deborah, I was wondering, are there any protocols, that we need to know about other than just wear your mask? Because I've been involved with funerals recently where they limit the number of people that can be in the room, and only this many people can be in the room, and everyone else has to watch it online. We got time to find that detail out. This is just Tuesday. Okay. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's how we're going to spend some of our time. Saying,
Celebrating the life of
celebrating the life
Dr.
of, yeah,
Lawrence
thank you, baby.
Dunstan.
Double mask and 50 people at a time. 50 people at a time. Okay.
I have filters for my mask, so I will bring filters. I am not wearing a double mask. I can't breathe. That is too much. But I can put the filter in the mask, so that would be fine.
Yeah.
Amen.
Thank you, Leanne. My sincere condolences. So this has been Let's Talk About, and today we've talked about time. I'm going to implore you to put some time towards your dreams. Like Leanne said it a great way. She put it really, really nicely. Put some time towards your dreams. Felicia talked about budgeting, or scheduling your dreams. We talked about how I schedule some stuff. We also talked about expectations of time. You want to read it?
No, go ahead.
Leanne says, to paraphrase a little time poem from my book, Time, oh, baby, I do this all the time. She writes, I just 1 minute, only 60 seconds in it, forced upon me, didn't choose it. But it's up to me to use it, give an account if I abuse it. And I should suffer if I lose it. Now, I do that poem too, but I Brian-ize mine. What I do is, I've got only but a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, can't refuse it. Didn't seek it, didn't choose it. I must suffer if I abuse it, give an account if I lose it. This is only a minute, but there is an eternity in it. Wow.
Absolutely, absolutely. I do enjoy that poem. And I have to say, time, one of the, Mark Greer talks about everything must have a purpose. That actually makes me think of Michael Catlow and his
30-minute time
of.
We're gonna do that. Let me finish reading Mark Greer. He goes, my own personal opinion is everything you do must have a purpose. Working on your dream, clearing your mind, spending time with loved ones, whatever the case may be, there should be a purpose for me. It helps to maximize my time in the moment. I've never taken time for granted because none of us know how much of it we have. Time is a precious gift and a blessing. Leanne says, of course you do. Awesome, Brian. Beverly says, Brian-ize with a little bit of Josh Stank on it. I'm going to get that one. Oh, Josh Stank on it. Okay, cool. The poetic prose. Okay. What was you saying, though?
As Michael Catlow shared with us, and it really stuck with me for a long time. Actually, in addition to his thought was every amount of time he evaluates it in 30 minutes.
What he did, he set his phone to alarm every 30 minutes. And what he did was he said he's resolved that he's only going to devote things that are worth, he's only going to do things that are worth 30 minutes of his time. Okay. That's all he was going to do. So, and it went off, and it was so empowering to watch it happen. He came to one of our men's meetings back when we used to meet for like 2 hours. We used to meet for 2 hours in person from 7 to 9. And I invited him to a meeting, and he said he had to make a choice. Am I willing to give Brian and his meeting 4 of my 30 minutes? And he decided that he was willing to do it that one time. Okay. And he did. And as it was going off and he was explaining to the men what he's doing with his life, is this worth 30 minutes of my life? Is this worth 30 minutes of my time? And it was just an amazing example watching that happen real time. And at about the same time, that movie Out of Time was out.
I was going to talk about that. Yeah. That movie, I loved that movie. It was Justin Timberlake?
I think so. Yes.
Matter of fact, I think I'm going to watch that movie again this weekend or something.
Out of Time.
But that movie really emphasized time as money.
Yes, and time was money in this movie.
Time is money, first of all.
Yes, but in the movie they use it as a currency. Okay, so like you want to buy a beer. Okay, you have to give 15 minutes of your time. Everyone has these bracelets that have much time, but when you run out of time, you die. Okay.
It's over. And it was so interesting to and the perception of time from the people who had no time and the people who had all the time.
The people that had all the time, guess what they were? They were the richest ones.
The affluent.
They could buy more time from other people, and some people would steal time from other people. And it was just an amazing illustration of how important time is. That movie's called Out of Time.
Deborah says she loved that movie. Absolutely. I thoroughly love that movie. And I love Justin Timberlake is so
talented.
He has so much more talent than I think people give him credit for.
How do we buy our time back? Oh my gosh. I would only be guessing. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go to read her previous question.
Her previous question?
I have a question. How do you compensate for time when the unexpected happens to you? Pencil in any extra time to get back on track from the unexpected. That's a difficult one.
Yeah, because time is not stored. And you can't get back any of the time you lose. None. Okay, once that time is lost, maybe you can just give a new goal.
Restructure.
A new goal or a new target. Yep.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, Leanne says, and I remember that movie, and if you give away too much of your time, you died early. That's absolutely right.
I remember
out of time.
He got blessed with time, a whole lot of time. He got rich in time, and he bought a car. And that was so many minutes that he had to give up to get that car, that sports car. Wow. You know, I think that has so many. If you're going to buy a car like, yes.
There's so many meanings in it.
How much of your time are you willing to trade for that expensive car?
Yeah. And then he gave his friend time. He gave, and also the moment when his mother ran out of time. That was so overwhelming for me. Yeah.
Mom ran out of time. And if he had gotten to her just a little bit earlier,
because he had been hustling up time,
he could have given her some time and she would have stayed alive. But he missed her by moments, you know. Bus run late, you know, missed her by moments. And he saw,
that was a difficult but very, very provocative display or depiction of time and what it really means and how it can be perceived. Even the older gentleman that gave away his time, he was tired of time.
Yes.
Time had kept him there longer than anyone else he knew. He had seen everything. He had learned everything. He had done everything. And at that point, he did not want any more time.
He didn't want any more time.
He didn't want.
But look at when you just said the movie was impactful and you said, I'm going to watch it this weekend. Well, this is just Tuesday. So what about Tuesday evening, Wednesday evening, Thursday evening, Friday evening? Are you suggesting to yourself that you won't have time to watch that movie until the weekend?
Yes.
Wow.
My time is already pre-allocated.
That much time is gone that you know that you won't have time to watch a 2-hour movie.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's not gone. It's pre-allocated. So understand, it's similar to what Queen said, right? What happens when the unexpected happens to you, right? So the unexpected that happened to many of us was last week. Things shifted in my schedule because I had a more important task to handle. The more important task was to be there for my friend, Dr. Deborah. And because of that, some other things in time shifted. Now, I, like Queen says, what do you do when that happens? Well, I shifted them as responsibly as I could. And I asked for grace to be able to manage them in different ways. And then now I have to fulfill that extension of grace.
Yeah. And that's so funny you should talk about that too, because I have been kicking my own butt lots of times in my life when I didn't meet a time objective. Okay. I had a goal to reach this. And then if I didn't reach that time objective, I would be upset with myself, really, really upset with myself. And what I've discovered was it was okay. It was okay. You missed that objective on time, but nothing fell off. You everything still got done. It was okay.
Yeah. You know? But I think that's a cautious exception. I think that we can get very callous with time in an endeavoring to be patient with ourselves. We can get callous with other people and vice versa. I think it's a balance. If you say something, then you should do what you said. And if you can't, then you should explain why you can't.
Set a new time target.
Or set a new time target.
No, I said I'd be at 10. That was being really, really optimistic. I'm not going to be able to make it at 10. Can we reschedule till 11? Will 11 still work for you and not inconvenience you too much? Okay. Now, this show.
You sound really, really patient on that side with you being the person who needs more time.
Right.
But now I want you to pretend to be the recipient of someone else's breach in time.
I feel you. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel you.
You feel me loudly?
I feel you loudly.
Oh, okay.
I know where you're going. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just
feel you.
Okay, good.
Now, this show is called Let's Talk About It. It's been going on since October of 2016, Monday through Friday. We talk about personal conversations, business information, and spiritual inspiration.
With a little bit of shenanigans thrown in.
We have an express ministry. Our express ministry is economic independence through
entrepreneurship.
That's what this show is about. Now, some of you guys have been rocking with us for years. Some of you guys are consistent contributors. And those of you who are, we like to thank you for your consistent contribution with a greeting song or a greeting logo. Go to the top.
Yeah, Stephanie says time is so precious. This week I devoted my time to outdoor space.
Amen.
And Miss Vivian says, I haven't set a time to finish my book. Yeah, but I may set that time for you.
And some people need that. Most people cannot be accountable to themselves. Okay. I saw a stat, like less than 10% of us can.
Yeah. So the other thing is setting aside time. Stephanie says, I set aside time for my outdoor space. I understand sometimes you got to set aside time for things that you really, really like. And sometimes you got to set aside times for things that you really don't want or don't want to do. And
what have to be done.
But have to be done. One of those things. So for me, yesterday during my break, I was actually on break. I was giving myself some time to just sit and be. And I realized that I was sitting and being in the chaos of my living room that was still not completely put away. And I felt as if it was, I understand that we've only been here for 3 weeks, and I understand that. But I felt like the time that I was sitting in that space was being detracted from because it did not look like a peaceful space. It looked like I was sitting in the middle of a pile of mess. And so it was taking away from my peace. Okay. And so I said to myself, you know what? You can take this time while you're sitting in this space and just get a bag and just get a box. And that's what I did. I got a bag and a box. A bag for the trash and a box for the things that didn't belong in that space. And then that way I could still sit and make that space what I wanted it to be.
That's right. It does help to have an accountability partner. Ms. Vivian says, an organized schedule. Yesterday, I took a few minutes in my living room to just think. She was endeavoring to have a good day.
Yes, I love that. Go take that. I want to say, Felicia says, I also don't get to everything on my weekly list. But if I keep saying the same thing, not getting completed, this might be an area in my life that I need to reevaluate. My procrastination might be because the passion is not there or the direction I'm going in has to change. It's the path and the goal is no longer relevant. Yes, and yes, sometimes those things are very true, but I often find that you are better capable of assessing those things if you have someone helping you to look from the outside in. Because remember, we talked about this a few weeks ago. The one who knows you the most and knows you the best is you. So the one that you can give the right excuse to, and I said excuse on purpose, not reason. The one that you can give the right excuse to is you from you. Whereas if you have someone that's going to hold you accountable on the outside in, they are not going to be as patient with you and therefore may also not let you get away with the shenanigans that some of us are actually allowing to keep us from accomplishing who and what we're supposed to be. Queen says exactly, the time missed on outside may cause someone else make much more time to make up the slack. Absolutely, and that can be a challenge. Stephanie says, yes, clear the space so the energy is good. Absolutely. Dr. Deborah said, I need plans and accountability. Amen. I got you, girl. Leanne says, everything is energy, and the vibration of the chaotic energy can affect our own energy and vibration. So I can understand how you felt, Lisa, sitting in the middle of piles. You did the right thing for your peace and productivity. I know that I did, because the amount of energy that I received sitting in that space after it was properly cleaned and appointed was wonderful. It was wonderful. Even just the 5 minutes that was left over from the time that I had set aside to rest was far much more invigorating than not. And actually, the productivity spilled over into another area that I was actually able to clean my entire downstairs. And when I say clean, I mean appoint and put away. So I hung the pictures, I hung the mirrors, I got the things out of those rooms that didn't belong there and all those things. I did the things that no one else could have done but me. The housekeeper is actually going to come and clean the stuff. I mean, I wiped everything down and all of that, but no one can put things where you want them. And since we just moved in, things did not yet have a home. So they were sort of here and there and everywhere. And I could only imagine somebody coming in, picking up the mess and putting it back down, wiping under it and putting it back down. That was not going to be what I wanted. But now it is appointed and it's a much more peaceful place. Even 5 minutes in the space can give me the peace that is needed or expected from that place. What was interesting was when my son came over, he said, oh, it looks nice. You cleaned up. That made me realize two things. One, that I did clean up and did a good job. But secondarily was that I was not the only one who recognized the chaos in the space. So how are you using the time? How are you using the time that you have? One of the things that I begin to think about in time is to spend less time belaboring the time that I don't have and more time honoring the time that I do. When you complain about what you couldn't do, what you didn't get to, and what you forgot to do, and all of those different things, guess what that takes? It takes time. Whereas when you instead project what you are going to do and how you are going to do it and how you're going to focus on it and what you're going to do, it actually brings you closer to the regaining of time. In 1999, the last day of the year, so December 31st, 1999, I was still working for corporate America, and I was in IT. I'm an IT professional, at least I used to be. And in that time where the whole world thought that everything was going to break and everything was going to break down, we were on alert. We did not have New Year's Eve off. We actually worked through the night to make sure that when the clocks switch over, that all of the mainframes didn't get destroyed, that all of the computers didn't go down, that everybody's money didn't shoot out of the bank, all of those different things that they were expecting to happen. Well, because they did not happen, we had a lot of time on our hands, right? The phones didn't ring off the hook. We didn't have any of those things. So I was using that time I think I had to update some procedures. So to rewrite some things, right? And I spent about 10 hours reorganizing and rewriting some procedures. And at 11 or something like that, my computer shut down. And guess what? I hadn't saved my work from those 10 hours. Now, I wasn't the only one because everybody all around me was doing the same thing. And so everybody had lost everything and everybody was all frustrated and upset and everything like that. And there were like pods of people belaboring what happened. Oh my God, I can't believe that all of this is gone. I can't believe all of that is gone, whatever. But instead of spending that time belaboring what had happened that was beyond my control, I reflected on what I had done and I created an outline based on what I had completed. And I was able to recreate everything that took me 10 hours to do in 5 hours, 4.5 to 5 hours, because the fact that I had already done it means that I had already figured out some of the areas that needed to be worked on. So I didn't have to figure them out again. They were already understood. And because I captured them while they were still fresh, I was able to re-implement them and probably came out better than it would have the first time. But if I had spent time commiserating, complaining, belaboring the point, then I may have actually lost more time and I may have actually put myself in a scenario where it was worse off than it was. Thank you guys for joining me. Today is Tuesday. Get some of your time back. Make sure that you set some time-sensitive goals for yourself so that you can accomplish everything that you're intended to bring forth in this world. I love you. I'm glad that you came. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay tuned for Coffee Time with Coach Jai. He follows me right here on the Empowerment Network. And don't forget to have sex.